Just a few nights ago, we saw the Los Angeles Rams win the Super Bowl off of a game-winning drive where the offense was exclusively through Cooper Kupp and there was nothing the Bengals could do to stop them. Everyone knew where the ball was going, yet it still worked, and that was a massive theme for the Rams and Cooper Kupp all season, as Kupp would go on to win Super Bowl MVP and cap off one of the greatest wide receiver seasons of all time. Now, what I'm here to answer today is, was Cooper Kupp's 2021-22 season the greatest wide receiver season of all time? The way I plan on doing that is stacking up his regular season stats, playoff stats, and single season accolades, and stacking them up with some of the greatest to ever do it, and those greatest to ever do it seasons go as such: Randy Moss in 2007, Isaac Bruce in 1995, Michael Thomas in 2019, both Antonio Brown and Julio Jones 2015 years, Calvin Johnson in 2012, and Jerry Rice in 1995. And finally, how I plan on stacking up these numbers is a grading system. It's not perfect, but it is what it is. How the grading system goes: for every 20 catches on the season, you get a point. For every 100 receiving yards on the season, you get a point. And for every 2 touchdowns you get on the season, you guessed it, you get a point. So it's not perfect, but it's what we're rocking with. And to show an example, let's go ahead and look at Jerry Rice's 1995 season. His total receptions for the year was 122, which is 6.1 points. He had 1,848 yards, which is 18.48 points, and 15 receiving touchdowns, which is 7.5 points, totaling up to 32.08. And this was a season where Jerry Rice finished second in MVP voting, and the 49ers had the highest scoring offense in that particular season. So now that I have the example out of the way, let's show all of the points with the exception of Cooper Kupp in 2021. So, boom, as you can see, Jerry Rice is the leader with 32.8 thus far, and Calvin Johnson is at the bottom with 28.24. There are a lot of slim margins in this. That is kind of the point. They're all great, so the margin for error is slim. Now, for the grand reveal, let's go ahead and look at Cooper Kupp's 2021 stats, where he racked up 145 catches, 1,947 yards, and 16 touchdowns, totaling up to 34.72 points, almost a full 3 above Jerry Rice's legendary 1995 season. And you can bitch, oh, there was an extra game, blah, 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 blah. Hey, I get it. That makes sense. It 100% helps the stats argument. So let's go ahead and look at what Cooper Kupp's 16-game point total would have been. So I took away his averages for receptions, yards, and touchdowns per game, totaling up to 136 catches, 1,833 yards on the season, and 15 touchdowns, totaling to 32.63 points. The extra game argument does not fully help Cooper Kupp, as he still dominates this leaderboard. Once again, this method is not perfect, I understand that, but it just shows that statistically speaking, Cooper Kupp had, in my eyes, the greatest regular season for a wide receiver of all time. Now, shifting focus to the playoffs. This one was a lot harder to do, as obviously the crop of players is a lot smaller. So the 3 main ones that I were able to take away is obviously Cooper Kupp in 2001, Jerry Rice's 1988 playoff run, and Larry Fitz's iconic 2008 playoff run. Let's go ahead and chop up the numbers. Cooper Kupp's 2021 playoff numbers go 33 catches, 478 yards, and 6 touchdowns solely in the 4 playoff games, totaling up to 9.43 points. Larry Fitz did top him with 10.46 points, totaling up a fucking absurd 30 catches, 546 yards, and 7 touchdowns. Larry Fitz's iconic 2008 season needs to be talked about more, and Jerry Rice falls in third with 8.14 points. Larry Fitz did beat out Cooper Kupp in this category, but I do believe that Cooper Kupp extending his historic regular season into the playoffs when no one else from that regular season crop was able to. Obviously, there are a dozen different factors that go into that, but at the end of the day, Cooper Kupp being able to extend that regular season into the playoffs and put up historic numbers is very special. Shifting over to the third and final category, that is the wide receivers' accolades for the seasons, and the accolades go as such. If you win Offensive Player of the Year, that is 20 points. If you achieve a Triple Crown, that is 20 points. If you do not know what a Triple Crown is, it is when a wide receiver leads the league in receptions, receiving yards, and receiving TDs all in the same season. Breaking a major record when you did it is 15 points. For example, Calvin Johnson 2012, Michael Thomas 2019. All-Pro First Team is 5 points, and winning Super Bowl MVP is 10 points. Cooper Kupp fucking dominated this list, putting up 55 points, achieving 4 of these 5 things. The only thing he did not do was break a major record, which he came 5 catches and 18 yards from doing. Looking at the rest of this list, there is no rest of this list. It was not even fucking close. When you look at wide receivers that have won Offensive Player of the Year, guess what? There are only 3, and Cooper Kupp is one of them. Michael Thomas did it back in 2019, and Jerry Rice did it twice in his career, in 1993 and 1987. Looking at all the wide receivers to achieve the Triple Crown, we obviously have Cooper Kupp in 2021. We see Jerry Rice in 1990, Sterling Sharp in 1992, and Steve Smith in 2005. Now, obviously, no shit, these wide receivers made the All-Pro First Team. We are talking about greatest seasons of all time, but I figured I'd sprinkle it in there. Now, looking at Super Bowl MVP, the highest honor of the highest game of the year. The only real contending total season that we see is Jerry Rice in 1989, as there were 7 others that have won the prestigious award, but no one else really has a shot when you look at total body of work seasons. Now, Jerry Rice has done all of these things because he's Jerry fucking Rice. He was labeled the GOAT until Tom Brady came in and had his second trilogy of championships. But it even took Jerry Rice a few years to achieve all of these things. It took Cooper Kupp 1 season to do what Jerry Rice did in 4 or 5. That is what makes Cooper Kupp's 2021 and 2022 season the greatest season for a wide receiver of all time, and I do not think it's close.